tonight.
Oh.
He was gonna take it out to Phillips's and get it up on the roof so that they could get under it and actually look at it. As this week's warmer. He was gonna tackle it last week. That was the day he was going to do it. It was only a really cool day. He said, I am not gonna work on it.
Okay, Brian's pick up here for Peace. Stephen? Peter did. And he worked for 2 years. But he was over to his wife was sick, so
Yeah.
she was teaching him, working for himself, and he got a pickup in the take her home from the daycare. Sleep was when he worked. Probably got 2 or 3 times. Yeah. He would work again.
Yeah.
He took my pickup home and I bet he was in the garage too. It was a New Year's Day, it was kind of cold.
Yeah.
Going out in the garage and working on his pickup. So I worked on it again yesterday, so I got it fixed.
It was a battery issue, but now I think they're cleaning up some lines, so. He may not be getting the full storage. That's so,
Yeah, I thought I don't remember where. Yes, would be. You see the battery fell over. Yeah, our battery fell over a few times. Dad would have had a heart attack thinking on what I did to make that battery fall over.
he told us what it was, I never.
Okay, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. In light of the fact that our girls are playing at home tonight, I would like to delete a few items for the agenda. That being number 4, the audit report, number 6, the standing reports, number 7, the district calendar, number 10, the board policy, and number 12, executive session. Anyone has any?
Read your numbers again.
Number 4, 6, 7, 10, and 12.
I'll make a motion to delete items 4, 6, 7, 10, and 12 from tonight's agenda.
Any discussion? All in favor? Anyone opposed? And we can also discuss at some point whether we want to move all them items or if we need to have a meeting before then as well. Okay, the consent agenda. So I had a chance to look at those items. Are there any questions on those?
I just had one on the purple wave.
Yeah, we purchased a pickup with a snow blade on it, plow. The time, 4-wheel drive.
I guess my question on it is about $10,000. Is there a limit that the board should be aware of it?
$20,000 according to statute, unless there's something different in board policy which we don't have, so.
Mr. Hickle did call me on that, and at the time they had found it, and thought it was, I guess probably I should have brought that up. Well, we hadn't met yet, so,
Right.
he did ask me about it.
Okay.
Based on Bob's recommendation, that's what I had done, but, yeah. Any other questions?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
And is there a second? Any discussion? All in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, let's see, we've got, just quickly on the communications, if anyone wants to attend the chamber banquet, let Nancy know by Wednesday. And also the Union County Conservation District, by January 17th, I guess that would be a Friday. If anyone wants to attend those, let Nancy know. The next item is the property insurance bids. We received 2 of those bids. Bridges Group, ENC, which was $59,509, and Conrad Insurance, which was $54,100. And I believe both groups are here to answer questions and maybe tell us a little bit about their bid. I have Todd with Conrad Insurance first, I guess, if you'd like to.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Do you have anything to add in regards to your bid?
I don't, I'll open it up for questions in a minute, or anybody can, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. The one thing that I did want to point out, on your commercial auto page, you'll see about halfway down on the bottom of that page, there was an alternative quote for your auto coverage on that, using a $500 comp and collision deductible for a premium of $12,459. Currently, your auto deductible is $100 comprehensive, $250 collision. We just wanted to offer the $500 comp and collision for your consideration, whichever way you want to go on that. But you do have the pricing in that, and you can see it's roughly, I guess, $2,500, almost exactly cheaper if you chose to go with that deductible. Wanted to point that out to you. And then also just mention, I think everybody's probably aware, but the Wright Specialty Insurance is the endorsed carrier by KASB, which I believe you guys are purchasing your workers' compensation through right now. So, other than that, I'd just like to open it up to questions, see if there's anything I can answer for anybody.
Questions for Todd? It's a lot to look over. I know.
Could you explain just a little bit what the blanket limit means?
Yeah. On the blanket limit on your property, you'll see that it's $20,167,000 and some change. Basically what that provides for you, if you have a loss to any one building, the next page has what's called a statement of values, which all that is an underwriting tool for the insurance company. But what that $20 million and some change provides to you, if you have a building that's damaged or destroyed, and whatever it costs to rebuild that, you've got up to the $20 million total limit. Now, if your entire district's destroyed, that's what the insurance company is going to pay. But let's say the school over there that's vacant right now, you got that insured for roughly $3.5 million. Probably wouldn't go back and build it anyways, since you're using it for storage. But just since that's an easy one to reference, if that building was totally destroyed and it cost $5 million to rebuild it, and you chose to rebuild it, that's what they're going to pay you, is the cost to rebuild, up to the $20 million limit, is how the blanket works. So it provides you some insulation as far as, you know, if we do have one building that's underinsured, you've got some protection there, because your feet aren't held to the fire on being exactly 100% right on your building values, because you can always fall back onto that blanket. And then maybe just one or two other points on your educator's legal liability. There is a retro date reference there of October 1st, 1989. So what that gives you, it's a claims-made policy, but what that does is that gives you protection all the way back to that date for your previous board members. And what that provides is, you know, anybody that you had, any decision that was made by any of the previous board members, faculty, or anything like that, you've got protection back to that date, which, don't know if anybody was on the board or has been on prior boards, but they would probably appreciate the reassurance of that.
sure I got this straight. On the equipment breakdown coverage
Mhm.
page, those limits are in addition to the 20 million. Like, I'm looking at demolition, $2 million. What does that mean? Is that,
What that's got is, if you would have a claim, you've got that limit on top of any cost to put back what was damaged. You know, again, using the building across the street, if it was destroyed, you gotta haul off what the remnants are. I know we were looking at another school district, that had a school that they had vacated, and I think the building was roughly 40,000 square feet. And they had shared with us the demolition, it was a brick building, wasn't as tall as that one, but they had shared with us that the demolition cost on that was gonna be about $400,000. So it just provides you some extra money to obviously haul off if there is damage.
and then the increased cost of construction?
What that's for is, under a standard policy, the insurance company owes you for what's damaged. A lot of times, what a building was built to code, and, you know, probably the easiest way to explain it would be ADA. Codes that were, when these buildings were built, probably are different than they are today, whether it be handicap accessible, electric doors, plumbing being insulated. We had one where, we have a nursing home where it was damaged and they had to go back in and rebuild. New codes where there was a different height for each window. Basically, each window was too tall by 6 inches, so all those had to be replaced in a brick and mortar building. So that's what that's for. The increased cost of construction is just extra money for rebuilding to any new codes that you may be forced to comply to that you weren't when the buildings were originally built.
Good.
Any other questions for Laura? Thank you, Todd.
Thank you.
Colleen, if you'd like to.
I'm just gonna stand up here because I feel like I'm in the back row. But, I believe you guys did get something that looks like this. I think, Mr. Hickle made some copies for you. Mine has a few more scratches on it than yours does. But, just wanted to point out on, the business auto, you might see two different, or maybe you just see a corrected, limit there, or premium there, because originally EMC, you know, you guys currently have 100, 250 deductible on comp and collision. And originally EMC they don't normally like to do that, but we had asked them if they would to match, you know, this quote apples to apples, so you'd have something to compare to. So, do you have the 9,338 number there? Is that what you guys have?
Well,
Or do you have both?
420, we have the 8918
Yeah,
and the
and then
420.
Okay, yeah.
So-
We originally had quoted it, 250, 500, and if we moved it down to the deductibles that you guys currently have, it would raise that about $420. So I just kind of wanted to explain that. EMC, is who we're representing. They've insured schools, you know, they've been around forever and insure schools. That's one thing that they specialize in. One thing, you know, when we lost you guys a couple years ago, you had talked, or Jim had talked about possibly moving the effective date from February to match the fiscal year in July. And we did talk to our underwriter. That's one thing they are willing to do if it makes things easier book-wise. They will lock in these rates for a year and a half. So basically you'd get these same cheap rates for a year and a half instead of, you know, the normal year. Anyway, what we do would write a short term and then rewrite it this July so that you'd have the dates be effective the same as your fiscal year, if that's still what it is. I
Then
don't
the
know if that's-
anniversary date would be the next July, 2015, July 1st of 2015.
Right, right, and I don't know if that's still a, interest. I know at that time it was. We did want to offer an optional workers' comp quote. We didn't include it in the top part, but that is one thing that we thought we'd put there. I'm not sure how the rates compare with what you currently have. That's something to think about anyway. I do want to introduce Richard Myers. He works with Bridges Group. He's got 40+ years experience in the insurance world. So if you guys have any questions that I'm not real sure of as far as EMC, he knows that company really well. So he might help us out if you guys have some questions. The other thing I wanted to pass out, and I'll give you each a copy. Today, and you can look on here and see about 4:30, my underwriter emailed me. Actually, he called first after I had sent him an email, and it must have jogged his memory that we were even presenting tonight, but he just wanted to let us know that EMC had made a mistake on the property rates, that as of officially just last Friday, which we had to have the bids turned in on the 7th. We can pass those around. But as of Friday, they changed their modification rates. So he just wanted to let me know, and I said, well, it may be too late, but I think the property premium, well, I've got it right here. What we had sent you was $42,810. They took a rate decrease, which would take it down to $39,351. So that would get the premium total, instead of that $59,509 that we had wrote on there, that would get it down to the $56,050. I just wanted to point that out. We would really like to get you guys back, and if it helps at all, to keep you local, we'd be willing to take some off of the commission to try to match, equal to what your premium is, your renewal premium with Wright Group is right now. Do you guys have any questions on any of the sections?
We might petition to the board that to avoid this email. It was received, the way I see it, after Colleen had received the quote numbers. I'm reading it right? I don't think that's very good.
Yeah, and that's fine, and that's what I told him. I said, it doesn't really look good, but that's what I wanted to show you exactly, what he had put in the email, and just let you know that.
Couple of questions on the equipment breakdown insurance, which will kind of compare. Where on your proposal it says demolition included, does that mean that that's not an additional amount, that it's included in the 20 million?
That's correct.
Okay.
To my understanding, I discussed that with the underwriter, and he said it was included, so it is included in the $20 million limit,
Okay.
but there's no additional amount.
And then, would there be an increased cost of construction I don't see anything listed here, I don't know, is that somewhere else maybe, or?
Well, you have several, I mean, basically, when you have an agreed amount policy, all co-insurance is waived, so they're gonna pay you, if you rebuild, they'll pay you the amount needed to rebuild that property, regardless of the cost. Because it is a blanket in this agreement, so co-insurance is just waived. But then you also have an ordinance and a law coverage in there that'll pick up laws or ordinances that have been passed since the last time it was done, so that picks up some of that. There is a limit on that. Something there. Oh, it's included, so I guess it is included.
How's there workman's comp on your own?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Colleen, if I read this right, if we went with yours, the retroactive date for legal liability would be the day we started, right?
That's correct. Now, the way you solve that problem is you buy the tail from your current carrier. And then that gives you a capsule of coverage from 87 to 5 years in the future. And, you know, if you've noticed in there, I say, you know, if you would go with us, you need to buy the tail coverage from these folks. But our retro, because of the loss, they will not back up over that loss. Just, I don't know any company that will.
Anyone else have any questions or comments?
I hate to ask you guys this, but do you have any idea what tail coverage would cost?
It varies from people to people, because you might be going back to the 70s, you might be going to the 80s or the 90s. On the last one I saw, it went back to, I wanna say 85, and it was,
Isn't there a cap of 200% on a fully vested policy?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
and I wanna say it was
So
about,
you're into the policy 2 years, so it's not fully vested. The maximum you can charge is 200% of the fully vested policy. Claims-made policies go up each year because you have a retro date, so you don't get all that exposure. That's why they invented them, so they could limit that exposure. But the tail, you know, I think in all policies, it's capped at 200% of the vested. So you're in this 2 years, so you're 40% of the total. So it would be whatever they charge, and I can't tell you what they charge.
One other thing I might point out on there too, we did quote flood and earthquake at $1 million limit. as per the RFP. I think, it looks like, I saw 150,000.
Yeah, we quoted 150,000 limit. And the thing about flood, you know, earthquake I can understand. Flood, you know, you're writing a coverage that's normally not written by carriers, because if you're actually in the floodplain, you have to buy it from federal flood, unless you guys have a different form. But by law, anything in the floodplain has to go there. So what you're looking at is runoff from a parking lot or runoff down an alley, and we have a $5,000 deductible on that. I can't remember what you guys had. I have 25 for you. Now, the earthquake we can provide, but EMC's position is they will do this endorsement at 150,000, which I agree is not much, but the only way they'll truly write earthquake, which they can, is to write the entire 20 million in earthquake. And that becomes rather pricey. I mean, we can do it, but it's not a giveaway. It is 150,000 per location, I think, isn't it?
Yep.
Any questions? Comments?
Is that when you time, or do we have time to look through these things?
I mean, real tonight, it's February something, date. If you wanna have a special meeting, like, meet a week maybe.
I would like to know what everybody's thoughts are on having a for like this and the other items. Special meeting to give us time.
I'm just trying to flip back and forth. and
Well,
look
that's
at
what I
it.
mean, it's
Yeah.
hard to, just to sit here and, even though we've had them, to start talking about these different things. What's your thoughts on that?
I'm available.
I'm sure tomorrow on Thursday and Friday would be out, Wednesday would be we did it this week, Wednesday would be about it. Cause tomorrow you've got MCL, Thursday you got junior high championship, and Friday you got MCL, and Saturday. So we did like Wednesday, which I can do Wednesday.
Would everybody, be okay with that?
5:30 Wednesday,
I'd like to have some more time to look over this.
to compare.
I think it'd be good, 5:30 Wednesday.
Triple, can you make that work? Contact information is on here if we should have any more questions.
The expirations, is that from today, or expiration expires 30 days?
Well, we gotta have it before the.
Well, I know, but I'm just
Yeah,
asking.
well, yeah, we're fine as far as you make a decision before the,
Same
for
here.
3 days.
Okay.
Okay, let's, is that- else, we'll move on then. Thanks for coming, both of you. Appreciate it.
So when did you,
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
next Wednesday?
Next Wednesday.
Just-
Or I mean,
that's
this
just
one-
2
this
days
Wednesday.
from
2
now.
days from now?
This
Okay.
Wednesday.
15th,
That's the what?
15th. Payday, huh?
Would you like us in attendance at that meeting?
I don't, not for me, I don't, do you guys, unless we have questions, we have contact information?
I can always call them.
Yeah, I think any questions I have, I can get to Mr. Hickle and he can pass them on.
Yep. And nope.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Hickle, thank you. Pass it on.
Ryan was just gonna give his contact information too.
I think I gave you enough for everyone,
Okay,
if anyone has any questions.
very good. Thank you. Thanks, Brian. Good to meet you.
Yeah.
Thank
guys have a
you.
good day.
You too.
Okay, let's see, where we at? So donation we need to the Graham County Foundation, has, donated, 16,000 to use for pole vaulting equipment. And, we need to accept that.
Is there any reason we shouldn't?
I certainly can't.
Okay, then I will move to accept that $16,000.
Been moved and seconded, any discussion? All in favor? Anyone opposed?
I think that's all initial typewriter.
What are you looking at?
A letter from
We also have, request for loan vehicles for the 4-H. And the, how many different things were?
There's two. Rock Springs Ranch, which you've done every year, I know that's in the summer, but it was on here. Graham County Historical Society, they would like to host Discover Kansas Day in Graham County. And that would either be May 3rd or June 7th, both Saturdays. Nancy would drive. They need to know now so they can, if they're not going to get a transportation, they may not be able to host it here, or they'll have to figure out other means of transportation. So it would be taking people around in the county, historical areas and things.
The only question I would have about that would be, would May 3rd interfere with anything the school would need to do with buses?
That would be, you have to check with Bob.
I mean, that would,
And
you know, that'd be the
I-
only stipulation.
Right.
Is you
Yeah.
making the track meets and.
Well, with May,
And that's what I
it's
told them
crazy.
when they applied, that we'd have to look at the schedule, and if, it's on a Saturday, so likely not.
And Nancy's already told them they'd have to take a yellow bus, because
Right,
we're not sending the pusher out on country roads,
yeah,
so.
and that's what I told her as well, so.
And not the new one.
Can we approve them based on?
Subject to,
Conflict?
Yeah, well, it says right on the form that, you know, the school schedule is first priority, so.
And what are they gonna do? Gonna drive around?
It's Discover Kansas Day, and the
Most
way,
of the 611 and
the way it was explained to me is that, you know, that people will come and they go to different historical sites in Kansas, and this would be one in Graham County that they would come and visit the
Oh, I
different
see. So that
historical places.
The people
The
come here and
museum,
Get on a bus and go.
yeah.
take a little tour in Graham County though. they're
In
not
Graham
gonna-
County, yeah.
Oh.
Kinda like the furthest away they were gonna go is maybe to Cottonwood Ranch, which is what,
Just
half
across
a
the
mile
line,
across the
yeah.
line.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve it, assuming there's no conflict with school activities.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, any discussion? All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carried.
And then do we need to do that other one too?
I assume
Are
that
they
was, you
separate
talking
ones?
about both?
Yeah, my motion was intended to include both.
Okay.
I do have one quick question about the insurance thing. Why would we throw this out?
Well, I'll tell you what, if you look, Colleen asked me what the differences in the quotes were. And so I sent her an email at 3:29 today, telling her what the quotes are, and you see the response today at 4:24. So, my way of thinking, this was sent on to whoever, and she sent it to them at 3:47, right after I sent it to her, and then they adjusted their quote down to get the bid. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's right.
We're not in
That's
bidding
my
war with
opinion.
him.
Well, I guess my
We asked
thing is,
we asked for a proposal that would be presented to the board and to go back and say, well, here's a low bid or whatever. Your bid was too high, so, or higher, so make the compensation to bring it lower. I mean,
If they had called on Friday, when this said this was revised, before they talked to you and said, we revise our bid, and then, you know, it'd have been different, but it was after.
Well,
That's just my opinion.
my opinion is,
I feel like I
if all things equal, I can pay more and stay local. That's my opinion.
But-
The taxpayers in this community are the ones that fund the school, and, you know, I don't know that's the case here, I haven't had a chance to really look at it, but I truly believe it is worth paying, if everything's equal, I'm willing to pay more to keep it local, because,
Within reason.
yeah, I mean, there's
I think
obviously.
we've set precedent in the past, we bought a vehicle from monies, you know, at 5 to 10% over, you know, above the other bid, and, you know, we've done that in the past, and to be honest, I'm with you, I was ready to accept it even at a higher rate.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying which, you know, this does change things, it kind of frustrated me too, that they would do that, but honestly, I was ready to, I probably would have picked them to begin with.
I see, well,
Did
just because
anybody-
they are local,
Did anybody, I never quite got them out, the tail.
figure it out.
No, 40% of whatever they charge, but
40% of 50,000, I mean,
I don't know, I don't know.
he said total premium.
I thought maybe it was just that section. Did I miss that, or was it the
I don't know.
I don't know, yeah, I could, oh, that was.
Well, what happened
I would
before?
imagine it'd be the whole contract.
that's pretty 40% of it.
Yeah,
No, that's 20,000.
Yeah.
Well, I just thought that's what he was saying.
I thought maybe it broke down, it was just that section,
Yeah, I thought it would be 40% of
the liability section.
Oh,
the
liability.
backdated, yeah, whatever
Oh,
that
okay.
the legal deal.
Well,
I
okay.
can ask that question, I'll find that out.
What's that?
I'll find that out for Wednesday.
I was impressed with the other guy's knowledge, he seemed like he, what was his name? Bigger guy?
Oh, Meyer.
Meyer, Richard Meyer, yeah. He seemed like he knew what was going on.
Well, I guess my question is, if the board decides to go with him, why would we not accept the lower bid?
Where you were, it's up to you, do whatever you think, you're right.
What did you say?
Well, I'm just saying, if we decide we're gonna go with bridges, it looks to me like it'd be
I
stupid
just
to
wish I
throw
would've
this
done
out.
this.
Well, I'm not.
It looks terrible, I agree, it
It
looks
probably
terrible.
should have never been sent anyway,
Well, that,
the difference in the bids.
I guess my question is, how did they, I mean, she asked for what their premium was, or their,
She asked what the difference in the bids were.
Well, when I talked to her earlier today, and we didn't discuss about this, she just said something about going to the meeting, and I had forgotten that we had to go over this, and she said, well,
Lesson learned for me, I won't let any information out in the future.
and she asked me if I had
well,
any bid.
I had visited with her about the deductible, but I didn't tell her anything about premiums.
Well,
But
you
I
didn't know
did,
anything
she just
about
made the comment, she wondered how much different it was, because if it was very much, she could, you know, there would be no point in her even coming down here, because
Even if you left it the same, it's not like $5,000.
What's that?
There's always a point in coming down.
Sure there is. Okay, well, I guess then we will, we can find out some more about that and give us time to look at.
Yeah, I haven't had it, you know, to compare apples to apples like that one deal, the earthquake and the flood deal. You know, that could, regardless of what happened tonight, you know, that could change one way
Well,
or
there's
the
quite a
other.
bit
Could
of
tip
difference
the
in the
scales.
coverages if you look.
Yeah,
It's
well,
really-
that's what I mean, but
But
that's, I think the two are close enough that we really gotta sit down, it's not just,
It's 20,000 for tail coverage though, isn't it?
I'm
Yeah, I
trying
can't
to
think
find
of
it,
it.
I can't.
So that's saying every time you ever switch, you're stuck with that tail. What did we do the last time when they took,
They
when they,
covered it,
who covered it?
Conrad.
They backdated their coverage?
We didn't buy tail coverage. They took care of it.
Well, maybe that's one of them things that we can, if we decide that, that
It
can
covers
be,
back to 1909, if somebody, if we switch to bridges, it says 2014. So you have to buy coverage to cover yourself back.
Just of the legal part of it,
Right.
right? Where, I cannot find it.
yeah, I can't either. But we can have those numbers for the 15th.
Was that the claims, okay, this educator's legal liability coverage, that's what it was, right? The premium for that is $1,000, so we'd be at 40% of $1,000,
Yeah,
$400. Would be what we would have to pay to buy this tail.
I mean, if
Am
we
I-
just need to
does
confirm
everybody else
that, I
understand it
think,
that way, or?
I think
Figured
that's,
that fast.
it's $1,040.
It's just moving a couple periods, that's all.
I'll call and ask, or stop by and ask, just to
Okay.
make sure.
Look at this city, you know.
No idea, why would you do that?
Okay. All right, are there any other items that we need to talk about before Wednesday? I guess we can also put all the items that we didn't get to on there for Wednesday.
Yeah, except for the audit report, probably.
Yeah, the audit report, we can do that.
Well, is what's his name from Mesa Miller supposed to, is he gonna come?
Well,
Yeah.
we moved it to February, so.
Yeah, that's what I mean,
We will have a lot of items on February, but if we can move the rest of them and have this Wednesday, that'll relieve a lot of February's load.
so,
Okay.
Let's
Yeah,
do
if
everything that we deleted on Wednesday.
If there's no other,
Can
Items.
I add an item for Wednesday? Or ask you, I'd like to talk a little bit, in depth, a little bit more about our strategic planning. If we could just,
Yeah, I kinda dropped the ball in this meeting, I kinda
Just-
brought up the
we
speed
just
on.
need to stay on it.
well, we can discuss that. I mean, we talked about getting the facilities thing, group would be
Priority.
probably the next thing, and then in February, we would, Mr. Hill will give us an update on the stuff that we, the webpage and that stuff that we talked about.
Okay.
We probably gotta give them a little time to get that stuff kinda going, but I do think that facilities thing, we need to stay on that, cause that's something we need to get going. We need to give some direction on, find out what we're doing. Okay, if there's no other items, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Then move to a second. All in favor? Anyone opposed?